Imagine a remote stretch of farmland in early 19th century America. No electricity, no phones, no instant help. Just forests, dirt roads, and a small farming community bound together by church, routine, and reputation. Now imagine that inside one ordinary farmhouse, something unseen begins making itself known. At first, it doesn't speak. It scratches, it knocks, it walks through rooms where no one stands. Then it touches the children. Then it strikes them. And eventually, it speaks, clearly, intelligently, and with purpose. It claims a name. It claims intent. And according to witnesses, it claims responsibility for a man's death. What makes this story different isn't how frightening it sounds. It's how many people claim to witness parts of it. How much of it was discussed publicly while the family was still alive, and how much of it was written down by people who are not looking for legends. This is the story of the Bell Witch, not as folklore, but as one of the most documented and disputed cases in American history. In 1804, John Bell Sr. moved his family from North Carolina to a large tract of land near the Red River in what is now Adams, Tennessee. This was frontier territory, isolated, but not lawless. The Bells were not drifters or outsiders. John Bell was a respected farmer, landowner, and church elder. He was known as a serious, practical man, not prone to superstition or exaggeration. Living with him were his wife Lucy and their children, including a young daughter named Betsy Bell. The Bell farm was successful. Their reputation was solid. They attended church. They hosted neighbors. For several years, life followed a predictable rhythm. And then, quietly, that rhythm broke. The earliest signs were easy to dismiss. Scratching sounds inside the walls. Knocking at night with no one at the door. Footsteps heard in empty rooms. At first, John Bell assumed animals were responsible. Rats or squirrels burrowing inside the house. But no animals were found. Then the disturbances escalated. Beds began shaking violently at night. Blankets were pulled off sleeping children. Pillows were thrown across rooms. The children complained of being touched while awake, hair pulled, skin pinched, faces slapped hard enough to leave visible marks. Most of the attacks centered on Betsy Bell, and they were not always private. Visitors witnessed it. John Bell tried to maintain order. He reprimanded his children for what he believed might be imagination or attention-seeking. Then it touched him. He described sensations like unseen blows, sudden pressure, and moments of weakness. Something was happening that could no longer be ignored. One night, the disturbances changed. Instead of scratches or knocks, a voice spoke, not faintly, not incoherently, clearly. It answered questions. It sang hymns. It quoted scripture. It identified itself only as Kate. Sometimes the voice prayed. Sometimes it mocked. Sometimes it laughed. And it made one thing unmistakably clear. It hated John Bell. According to witnesses, the voice openly stated it intended to kill him. This was not whispered in secret. It was said in front of others. Neighbors came to hear it for themselves. Some left shaken. Some left convinced something real was happening. Others believed the family was being deceived or deceiving others. But no one could explain how. When the voice gave a name, suspicion turned to a real person. Kate Batts. Batts was a widow who lived nearby. She was outspoken, deeply religious, and often at odds with her neighbors. Years earlier, she had been involved in a dispute with John Bell, possibly over land or a financial agreement. The details are unclear, but the conflict was remembered. Crucially, Kate Batts was alive during the years the disturbances were reported. To some, her name offered a simple explanation. A known enemy, a human source for something terrifying. But there was a problem. There is no evidence tying her to the events. No confession, no proof of trickery, No explanation for how one woman could produce physical attacks witnessed by multiple people, sometimes in different locations at the same time. Whether bats had any involvement at all, or whether her name was simply used to anchor fear to someone tangible, remains unknown. By this point, the Bell farm had become a destination. Neighbors arrived skeptical. Ministers came to pray. Some stayed overnight. Many claimed to experience the phenomena themselves. Furniture moved. Objects were thrown. Beds shook violently. The activity appeared selective. Some people were mocked. Others were ignored. Betsy Bell continued to be targeted. Her engagement to a local man reportedly ended after the voice tormented him relentlessly, something multiple witnesses later referenced. The Bell Witch was no longer a family secret. It had become a community event. As the disturbances continued, John Bell's health deteriorated rapidly. He developed facial paralysis, difficulty swallowing, severe weakness. Witnesses later claimed the voice mocked him openly, taking credit for his suffering. In December of 1820, John Bell was found unconscious. Nearby was a small vial containing a dark liquid. According to later accounts, the voice allegedly claimed responsibility, stating it had poisoned him. John Bell died shortly afterward. The official cause of death was never clearly determined. Whether the vial existed exactly as described, whether it was misinterpreted, or whether the story was later embellished, is still debated. What is not debated is this: John Bell died while claiming to be tormented by something he could not explain. After John Bell's death, the disturbances diminished. According to accounts, the voice claimed it would leave, but promised to return years later. Some said it did. Others said it never truly left. Betsy Bell eventually married someone else and left the area. The family fractured. The farm passed into history, but the story didn't disappear. It was written down, passed along, argued over. Unlike most hauntings, this one never relied on secrecy. It existed in the open. The Bell Witch stands apart in American history, not because it is the most dramatic haunting, but because it sits at the intersection of documentation, rumor, psychology, and fear. No single explanation accounts for everything. Mass hysteria explains some aspects, but not all, and supernatural explanations explain nothing definitively. Whatever happened on that farm destroyed a family, and it left behind a question that still has no answer. Was it deception, psychological contagion, a series of coincidences magnified by belief, or something else entirely? The Bell Witch remains unresolved, and perhaps that is why it endures. The original Bell farmhouse from the early 1800s no longer exists, but the land where it stood, including the area known today as the Bell Witch Farm and adjacent cave, is still recognized and visited as a historic site in Adams, Tennessee. If you enjoy stories like this, real cases that live in the gray space between history, psychology, and the unknown, consider subscribing to the channel. I focus on cases that don't rely on legends alone, but on what can actually be traced, documented, and questioned. If you have your own thoughts on what really happened to the Bell family, or if there's another real case you think deserves a careful look, let me know in the comments. And until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and remember, not every mystery fades with time.